my friends, it's Lauren here to help you heal your past, to heal your body so that you can be free of chronic fatigue for good. I wanted to share with you today because it feels a little like the stuff that's coming up it almost feels like it's speeding up a bit. And I don't know, maybe that's a natural thing to happen when you've been healing a lot of this stuff and you sort of get momentum, or I don't know, it's sort of like your soul is releasing more because it knows you can handle it, maybe. I like to think that's the case. Let's hope that's the case. My soul thinks I'm ready. It just feels like it used to be, and I share this in case this happens to you, that when you first start healing emotional wounds, they come in these big waves, and well, they feel especially big in the beginning, just because you're not used to it. But they come in these waves, and then what I found is that, I guess this is my soul's doing. My soul would give me, or my body would give me this rest period. And sometimes it would last for like, gosh, I don't know, like a month. And then I would get triggered again and something else would come up. Or the same wound, but a different like flavor of that wound, a different like aspect of the wound. Or the same exact wound if I didn't heal it the first time. But the truth is that these wounds come up, and when you're learning how to heal them, you heal a piece of it. You don't heal it all at once. You can't expect yourself to be able to do that. If these wounds have been in your body for years, probably decades, depending on your age, and if this happened in early childhood, I mean, it could be really decades. So if these things have been in your body for decades, and for the first time you're getting this stuff up, I mean, you're not going to be able to heal it all at once. It's not realistic. Any one of these wounds, it's going to happen in these layers. I've talked about an onion, like these onion layers that you have to peel one at a time, and just based on whatever is triggered for you in that moment. And I'm going to say this again. I've said this on a couple of videos at least. Triggers are gifts. The triggers are the gift. They are the gift to help you heal this stuff. Man, did that take me a long time to figure out, because they suck. Whenever you're triggered, I don't know if you feel this way. Let me know if you feel this way. But when I used to get triggered, before I realized this, I would get triggered and I would feel like I was being done to. Or I would be berating on myself. I would start to berate myself and just be like, yeah, this again. Yeah, I know. You got this thing. It's you're hurt again. You're hurt again, Lauren. It was this really mean attitude towards myself. It was like this again. It was dismissive. It was not loving, compassion, kindness. What your inner child actually needs is the compassion, the love, the support, the acceptance. Acceptance is key. So, when you're first doing it's in these little layers, and what I experienced is I would have these long breaks and I would have these rest periods, and I needed them. And now it's like, I feel like I just healed something. It was like a couple weeks ago, and I got like, I mean, honestly, it was a few days it felt like break. And then something else started to bubble up, but I couldn't tell if it was the same wound, and it's because I think the one that I'm working on right now is like the big one, it's like a really big one, and it's got so many facets, it's got so many components, and this might be true for you, because these core wounds that are happening in your first and second chakra that are about love and safety, it's like when you have these wounds your whole life since you were a child, and then your beliefs stemmed from them, and then your personality, your patterns and your behaviors stemmed from your beliefs, and then your personality stems from your patterns and behaviors. So it's like your whole personality is based on these wounds, well then of course you've got a lot to heal, because it's so complex. You've been living with this personality for decades. And having those wounds created, you get into relationship dynamics that are really toxic sometimes, and there are all kinds of things. You can build a life that's toxic to yourself, and it's actually that the world is trying to tell you, the universe is trying to tell you what's wrong, that there's something wrong, that you need to go in and look. But that's not how it feels. It feels like my life sucks, and it just keeps getting worse and worse, and everything that I do just goes to shit, and it's just like, no matter how hard I try, that's how it feels. But it's this new shift in mindset that you have to take on, which took me so long to learn, which is why I'm sharing it with you, so that you can take it on earlier in the process than me, because so you need this mindset of everything that you feel like is being done to you is actually being done for you. And I know there are famous people, Tony Robbins says, what if life happened for you, not to you? And lots of people have variations of that, or the same thing, It's a famous thing, but it's true, because when you shift your mind to believe that everything in your life is happening for you, everything changes. And how I make sense of it, because that's a really hard thing to understand. If you just have that, it's like, well, how does that make sense? How does someone dying, or how does going bankrupt, or how is that for me? The things that are horrible that happen, how could that be for you? But the thing is that the process of healing any wound is not just the self-love and the self-compassion and the acceptance that I've talked about. But, part of the acceptance is actually that you have to find a gift. What is that there's a gift in every bad thing that happens. There is, and you just have to learn how to look. You just have to learn how to look for the silver lining in everything. I know people who believe that there are never several silver linings. It's really rare for there ever to be a silver lining, and if that happens, then it's just like it's extremely rare. It's such a pessimistic way of looking, and it's not true. They just don't know how to look for the silver linings, because there always is one. Because that's how the universe works. Maybe it can simply be something horrible happens that you look back years later and you find that because of that, you changed direction in your life that led you eventually to this place that you never would have been, that you never would have gotten to without that bad thing happening. Or the simple fact of it made you a hell of a lot stronger, and you needed that strength for something that happened later in your life. Start, and you don't have to figure out what the silver lining is in the moment when something bad happens to you. You just have to believe. And I got goosebumps, because this is truth to me. This is so true. I so believe that this is true. That you just have to believe that there is a gift, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much it sucks, and people are, how much pain there is in it. For you and others, there is a silver lining in it somehow, somewhere, and you don't have to know it right now. You just have to believe that there is one, and that it might show up later, or you might not ever figure it out, but there is one. And even if you don't figure out what it is, it doesn't matter. If you believe that there is one, because there always is. Just can't. Sometimes the silver lining is really subtle, and you never see it, but the belief that it's happening for you. And that is so true. That this is so important in this illness, because this illness is so freaking difficult to get through, to live in. It's day after day. It's your constant. It's your life. It's your reality. It's your reality every minute of every day. And it restricts you, and it confines you, and it causes so much pain in your life. that's why, and that is why in this illness it is actually the most important, and something that is so difficult, and causes so much suffering and pain, is the time that you need to take on this mindset. This mindset of, this is happening for me, and I don't have to know why. I don't have to know what the reason is, but I know that there is a reason, whether I can see it or not. That there is a reason, and I'm gonna figure it out. And for me, the gift, the huge gift, and this is not hard to see anymore. Now that I've gone through this process as far as I have, I can see, gosh, of course, the huge gift. This is like the biggest gift of my whole life. I feel like this illness, because it changed my trajectory. It changed my whole life, because now it's forced me. I feel like it pinned me against a wall. I'm guessing you feel this way too. You feel pinned in a corner. You feel like there's nowhere to go. And maybe that's why you're watching this channel, because you've looked everywhere else. This could be the answer. And if this is the answer, or even a piece, then the gift is going to be obvious. When you go through and you heal this stuff, you're going to be happier, you're going to feel freer, than you ever have in your life. You're going to know your true self, because you're going to see her, you're going to get to know her or him. And finally, after all these years, you're going to know your true self. And once you're aligned with your true self, once you know your true self, and you connect to the energies around you, and you connect to a higher power, whatever you believe in. I believe in soul and spirit and the universe, the universe force, the force of the universe. Once you connect to those, then you can start seeing so much happens, so much starts happening to you, and you start seeing the gifts in all around you, and then you start seeing the breadcrumbs towards your purpose, the purpose-filled life that you are meant to live. This is a widespread, it's almost a universal, close to universal struggle, is that people can't figure out, whether they're aware of it or not, can't figure out what their purpose is. And it's because I believe, this is my belief, based on my experience, I believe that that's because there are so many wounds in the way. There are so many wounds, core wounds, that are impacting the way they see the whole world. Joe Dispenza says this quote that I love. He says, "We don't see things the way they are. We see things the way we are." Meaning that nobody has the ability to see everything completely objectively. Maybe when you get rid of all of the stuff, all of the wounds, all of the, quote, baggage that, I don't really like the word, but then once you get rid of that, maybe you can see how things really are. But until then, or maybe never, we see things the way we are, because everything is a mirror back at us. Everything. That's the way the universe was constructed, and that's what I believe. I get so inspired by this process, even though, gosh, it's so funny, because earlier today I was in a terrible spot, and not terrible, I was just in a difficult, I just felt off. I felt like, I don't know, it was my inner child. There was an emotion coming up. I'll make another video about that and what I did that really helped. Because I've just been talking about the stuff that excites me, and I want you to be excited, because it's what pulls you through the difficult parts of this process, the difficult moments, the difficult days, weeks, months of this process. It's not fast. It's not a quick process, and it's not easy, and it takes so much patience, so much resilience. Oh, I've been focused so much on resilience today, and I learned that today I learned that the hummingbird is the spirit animal for resilience, and I just loved that. And I was thinking about the times that I've seen a hummingbird in the recent weeks, and I was just thinking, trying to connect, like, was it at a certain moment that I really needed it? It's hard to say, because the truth is, I could always use that. I could always use the hummingbird medicine, as it's called, with the resilience. And we all can, because resilience is what you need. But you already have it. You already have it because you've been living with this illness and you're still looking for answers. That means you already have the resilience that you need. You have it. And you can do this. You can go on this process, and things, you know, sometimes emotional states change quickly, sometimes slowly. I kind of think of it as a process of learning how to do it more streamlined, more quickly, more smoothly. It's a hard thing. It's like, I mean, I don't know what, oh gosh, I need to think of a good comparison, because nothing that's coming to mind seems to pale in comparison, but it's something, a metaphor. Give you a suggestion if you think of something that's about how agonizing something is when you're first trying to learn it and you have no idea what you're doing, and it's new, and something's been stuck for so long. One time the analogy I used is like an old rusty wheel that's been rusting for decades, and you're trying to move like a tractor. You're trying to plow with a tractor that has been rusting for decades. It's like, that is an uphill battle. I mean, no, it's not. It just feels that way. See, that's not a good enough metaphor. Help me. If you can think of something, I'd love to know. Metaphors are not my strong suit, and yet I always want to use them. This process is getting easier, and where I started is that what I'm starting to notice, I think this is what's happening, is that it's starting to speed up. I'm not getting as much rest period as I was. And maybe it's because I'm healing stuff slightly fast. I should give myself credit. Faster than I was. So maybe my body doesn't have to recover quite so much. You know, when it was taking weeks or like a month to even realize I was in a triggered state, you know, that takes its toll on the body, because that whole time that I'm in a trigger, like an emotional trigger, like an emotion's trying to come up and I'm not letting it unconsciously. And so then all the symptoms come up, because that's what happens when you disconnect. You disconnect from, you're actually dissociating. You're disconnecting from the emotion, because that's what you were programmed to do. And so then the symptoms come. And I have a new theory about that with this illness. That this is the dissociation and disconnection is a key part of this illness. It's part of this formula that I'm trying to come up with, but I'll come back to that another time. So I think what's happening is that it's speeding up, which is exciting, because the faster you can heal stuff, the faster all of the big stuff will be healed. And remember, triggers are gifts. Triggers are the gift, because when triggers come, that means you're ready to heal it. It means that there's something that you need to heal, and you're ready to heal it. And every time you're triggered, it's a gift. It's a gift, because you're being given an opportunity to heal something. And it's okay. I can't even tell you the number of times I've been triggered and I didn't heal anything, because I didn't have this perspective, and I didn't know that the trigger was a gift. I didn't know that the trigger was an opportunity to heal, and then even besides those, I wouldn't have even known how to heal it. But now I do, and now you are learning, and that's what's so exciting. So triggers are a gift. So every time you're triggered, do whatever you want to do, like touch your heart and say, thank you for this, thank you for this trigger. I'm so happy to be triggered, and have all these terrible symptoms coming up, and then you can go in and try to try to feel, really focus inward and try to feel that emotion. What is the emotion? And just keep focusing on it and trying to feel it until you can get something up. And when you get something up, that's when you just shower yourself with love and compassion and acceptance. That's it in a nutshell. But life doesn't happen in a nutshell, which is why I'm making this why I'm doing these videos, because I always get frustrated when people put it in a nutshell, and I'm like, well, take apart that nut. I mean, how do you actually do it? So that's what I'm trying to do. Okay. So food for thought. I hope that's helpful. And I hope you have a beautiful day or evening or night or whatever time of day, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you on the next one. Okay, bye.